Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. My name is Michelle Velasquez, and I am the bilingual advocacy coordinator with the Farmworker and Landscaper Advocacy Project. We are excited to share with you today information around housing resources for individuals living in Illinois, including the rental assistance programs currently available. Before we get started, we would like to express our gratitude to Commissioner Alma Anaya, who is joining us today, and to Anali Rocio Marina and Olivia from the Resurrection Project who helped us make this event happen. During today's live, you'll be getting to know a bit more about the work FLAP and TRP does under the Illinois Access to Justice program. Additionally, we'll go over rights every person in Illinois has, regardless of their immigration status when it comes to housing, and the rental assistance programs currently available for Illinois and Chicago residents. I'll now hand it over to Anali from TRP to give us some background on that.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for hosting this live with TRP. So I just want to give a brief overview about Illinois Access to Justice and the Eviction Prevention Program. So Illinois Access to Justice is a statewide program funded through the state of Illinois that was created to help mitigate the devastating consequences of detention and family separation due to mass incarceration and deportation. We have about 60 plus partners across the state that help provide legal protection and through community-based programs and community navigator programs. Also launched in April 2021, the Illinois Eviction Prevention Program was established to keep families stably housed, ensure tenants and landlords are financially secure, and prevent a tide of evictions due to COVID-19. We hope that some of the information that we share with you today will allow you to better exercise your rights when it comes to housing. And please be sure to like and share this video so that we can make sure that as many people as possible receive this information and can apply for rental assistance funds. And with that, I'll pass it back to Michelle.
Thank you. And before we get into the Know Your Rights segment and all that we have in store for you, I wanted to say a bit about FLAP. FLAP is an organization that's mission is to improve the working conditions and opportunities for low-income workers and their households in industries such as cannery, farms, greenhouses, landscaping, meat, nursery, packing houses, restaurants, and snow plowing, and that's to name a few. I'll be going more in depth and about FLAP services later during the live, but I wanted to give more of a background. We will be joined by Commissioner Alma Anaya in a little bit. But right now, we can go ahead and start with the Know Your Rights presentation.
So I think she's actually might be on already. Give me 1 second.
Oh, great.
Commissioner, are you on the stream?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, we just wanted to double check. Okay, I'll pass it back to Michelle and then I'll hand it back off to you.
Okay, thank you. Well, now I have the honor of introducing Commissioner Alma Anaya. Alma Anaya is the Cook County Commissioner of the 7th District, serving the southwest side of Chicago. She became the youngest woman and the first Latina in over 25 years to serve on the Cook County Board of Commissioners when she took office in 2018. Furthermore, she's one of the few formerly undocumented immigrants to hold the office in the country. Commissioner Anaya has achieved major legislative accomplishments and has become a fierce advocate for immigrants, domestic violence, and sexual assault survivors, people with disabilities, and for working class families in Cook County. She's worked diligently for affordable housing, gender equality, and health equity throughout her tenure as commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I do want to start off by, of course, relaying my gratitude to the Farm Workers and Landscaper Advocacy Project, or FLAP, and TRP, the Resurrection Project, for hosting this Facebook Live and also for inviting me. We know that during this very critical time, it's important that everybody really understands what their rights are, especially just due to so much devastation that the pandemic has caused our community. So again, my name is Alma Anaya. I'm the Cook County Commissioner of the 7th District. I serve the southwest side of Chicago. I am the only Latina on the Cook County Board, but I have the most Latino district in the whole county. and also the biggest concentration of immigrants. So again, knowing your rights workshops is extremely important to me. I do serve the district and some of the zip codes that were mostly impacted by COVID. So after a year of surviving, COVID-19, many of the families, particularly families that are low income or other immigrant and other vulnerable communities, now have to really readjust to navigating the negative impact of the pandemic as the world is starting to reopen and we're starting to see a little bit more of normalcy. So families have not unfortunately lost loved ones due to COVID, but are also just struggling to overcome the additional economic instability due to job losses or any medical bills that have been accrued during the past year and a half. So we know that human rights, really depend on a lot of things, and one of them is housing, right? We know that housing is, without a doubt, one of the most important things that we can help secure families. So we know it's the foundation to ensuring that we're establishing a healthy life for the families of our communities. And everyone should have access to safe and healthy living environments, no matter what the economic status is. And I know this firsthand because, after the 2008 bubble, our family lost our home. I was one of those children and one of those families that were impacted by the economic instability that was caused by the recession of 2008. So we know that at this time, our families are extremely vulnerable and we need to do everything in our power to ensure that. And that's what we're doing in Cook County. So without any proper resources and assistance, recovery for the working families is just extremely difficult. And it is extremely critical at this point that we continue to share information about the available resources to the families. So I know my office has done a lot of work around canvassing various communities in the district to inform about rental assistance programs. We've also helped constituents file applications online. And in particular, we have assisted individuals that are not familiar with the process and how to use, the computer or need any other technical assistance. But most importantly, we've done a lot of work, and the office has been part of the working group to ensure that there are resources at the county level for maybe foreclosure, mediation, and any type of programs. So I'll talk a little bit about some of the work that we've done and some of the rights that you now have in Cook County as a resident. So the first one that I want to talk about is the Cook County Residential Tenant Landlord Ordinance, which was passed in January, officially passed in January of this year, and it came into effect June 1st of this year. So I was a proud co-sponsor of this ordinance. This establishes basic landlord-tenant rights and responsibilities for over 245,000 renters and households in suburban Cook County. The city of Chicago has a very similar ordinance and has almost identical the protections that I'm about to highlight. Number one is the lockout. So this ordinance prohibits any landlords from locking out tenants without any proper evictions. This is extremely important, especially because a lot of our individuals and community members were not able to pay. So we don't want landlords to just start kicking people out. That's extremely, against the law. So we want to make sure that that's that. So the other thing is in regards to late fees. So it prevents landlords from charging late fees greater than $10 a month for the first $1,000 of rent. Security deposits. So security deposits may not be more or higher than 1.5 times the monthly rent. The other protection is the lease renewal. So the landlords must notify the tenants in writing of his or her intent to not renew the existing rental agreement at least 60 days prior to the termination. And this is, again, extremely important because it prevents any type of instability in people just getting, that their lease being terminated without cause. And the final important thing that we need to highlight is the landlord repairs. So landlord needs to meet the timelines to address repairs for their properties and will be subject to the lease terminations or loss in any of that if they do miss those deadlines. So we need to continue to provide this type of protection. So in addition, I talked a little bit about the evictions and foreclosure and other type of mediation that has been worked out. My office, along with two of my colleagues, Commissioner Scott Britton and Commissioner Larry Suffredin, were part of the working group to ensure that there was funding and that there was an actual plan to prevent evictions and to prevent foreclosures. So I do want to offer that as resources. So we need to know that the Cook County has free legal help for residents. Again, this particularly covers evictions, foreclosures, and any unresolved debt issues that may exist that are maybe long-lasting or have a negative impact on the future of that individual. So the program and the hotline for that, I will mention the phone number is 855-956. 5763. Again, that number is 855-956-5763. Cook County continues to look at what are the additional type of mediation, not only through legal, but also direct services and assistance that will be provided to the residents of Cook County. We are now, through ARPA, the American Rescue Plan, through the federal government, are going to be receiving about $1 billion, which will be used to ensure that there is any additional help, any legal assistance. We want to make sure and we want to guarantee that housing continues to be a human right and that we do everything possible to ensure that people are not, wrongfully evicted or are not suffering from any housing insecurity. So again, I think the team here from FLAP and TRP for continuing to bring forward this very important information to our constituents. And if there's anything that is needed, any type of assistance or help, I am more than happy to help any of the constituents. People can contact our office at 773-376-2700. Our office is open from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we accept walk-ins, and that address for our district office is 4374 South Archer. Again, thank you, ladies, for having me here today.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. That was all extremely helpful information. Even we wanted to thank you again for joining us today. I think it really matters to hear from elected officials and to know that you share also personally some experiences that your own constituents are facing, especially during this pandemic. So we thank you for the advocacy that you do, that your office does, and all your support. So thank you again for your presence today. We look forward to working with you and your team as we move forward.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Have a good one.
You too. Now we'll be moving forward to the Know Your Rights section of our event today. And to start that off, I'll talk a bit more about FLAP and our services. You already mentioned a little bit about FLAP's mission to improve the working conditions and opportunities for low-income workers and their families. The organization carries out its mission through advocacy, community outreach, community legal education, and that looks like, and what that looks like is specifically outreach, conducting outreach throughout the state of Illinois and presenting Know Your Rights in the field to workers, referring workers and families to other legal resources, and also partnering up with organizations such as TRP and programs like Access to Justice. During this pandemic, FLAP has been able to facilitate access to cash transfers to low-income workers and their families. We, of course, do our work and serve our community members regardless of their immigration status. Next. Like I mentioned in the last slide, FLAP, first and foremost, educates workers about their rights in workplaces. We build relationship with churches, consulates, and other organizations to carry out these presentations. Like I said, also our staff travels to different parts of the state in order to make sure workers are able to get this information. Next. FLEP is partnered with over 150 organizations and a network of attorneys that handle cases to defend folks if they aren't being paid a minimum wage for overtime, or if they are forced to pay for their uniforms or equipment for their jobs, and resources for workers' compensation and accidents that occur in the workplace. Next. And then in this slide, you'll find all the ways to contact us. You can go to our website or call the number you see on the screen. And of course, you can like and follow us on Facebook to see any updates or to ask us questions as well. And now that we heard a bit about FLAP, we can go on to our KYR segment. And just as a reminder, please comment on the post with any questions and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. We're going to go over rights that every person in Illinois has, regardless of your immigration status. And then first, as a tenant, you have the right to not be discriminated against, which includes that you have the right to also not be discriminated against your immigration status. You have the right to live in a habitable home, meaning a safe place with functioning water, heat that's free of pests, and the right to privacy, meaning your landlord can't enter your home without any notice. You also have the right to document the communication you have between you and your landlord. And something important to note is that these documents don't need to be notarized, but there should be some proof that the landlord did receive notifications. Next. Here are the two different acts that protect the tenant against discrimination. The first one is the Illinois Human Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in Illinois related to employment, financial credits, housing, and sexual harassment, just to name a few. And under the Illinois Tenant Protection Act, landlords can't use your immigration status to intimidate tenants or threaten to call ICE or increase your rent or shut off utilities. Next. And these are the essential services and non-essential repairs that a habitable home must have, including heat, water, electricity, and if these services need emergency repair, it must happen as soon as possible. For non-urgent repairs, the landlord does have a specific amount of time to make those repairs. Next. If you are at risk of an eviction, you have the right to receive written notice, fix the violation if the tenant is not in compliance with the lease, get legal help, and be represented by an attorney at court proceedings. And you have the right to remain in the unit until an eviction ruling by a court, which is important to note that only can be executed by a sheriff. And again, it's important to note that any documents that you gather do not need to be notarized. And we recommend fixing a violation in a lot of time. If not, then the landlord can start the eviction process. Next. Governor Pritzker's eviction moratorium prevents evictions from being filed if the tenant owes rent. It states that the Illinois Tenant Declaration for COVID-19 must be completed to stop evictions. To add, we recommend using the state moratorium since it's stronger than the federal one. And an update to this is that the moratorium is in effect until July 24, and it will be extended, but tenants will have to submit a COVID declaration to be qualified under this extension, and they can still submit if they haven't, already. And then one last thing is that this does not forgive debt. Next. A declaration is the first step to prevent eviction. It helps you state that you have an income below $99,000, COVID-related financial loss, that you've attempted to pay or make partial payment, or if you're at risk of experiencing homelessness. If you meet all of this, you don't have to complete a declaration. If you meet all of the criteria but do not complete a declaration, an eviction can proceed. And a reminder is that this declaration does not require you to have had COVID. Next. You can create a declaration by using the state of Illinois' online creation of state declaration, and you can see the link is posted right there. It is also available in Spanish. You can submit the declaration to your landlord via email or text. Next. This is a look into what questions will pop up on the website to help folks with filling out the declaration form. And again, it is also in Spanish. Next. And this is a look into the eviction process, and the declaration that we went over can help stop the eviction process. Something to add would be that declaration stops from starting an eviction, and if the eviction process has already started, a declaration will pause the eviction case until the moratorium ends. Next. And then these are things notices should include: a date of notice, address, unit number, date when the lease ends, amount owed. There are notices that are either 5 days, or there are also 30-day notices for those without a lease. A lease violation notice comes as a 10-day notice, and something to note is that timeframes can change depending on the city and county that you live in Illinois. Next. Organizations that can help with mediation between you and your landlord or police, if it gets to that point, are the Chicago Tenants Movement. Their number is on the screen, and the Metropolitan Tenants Organization, MTO, and their number is also on the screen. And if you need any of this information later on, you can feel free to contact us, and we'll be happy to give that. Next. And here are the major takeaways from what we went over. And the last component will be eviction legal support, and I can hand it over to Anali to go over that with you.
So thank you, Michelle, for reminding us of our housing rights and how to exercise them. I will now be going over eviction legal support that's available for all residents of Illinois and who might find themselves in need of this assistance or legal help. So we talked a little bit about housing rights and what a habitable home consists of, or what a lockout entails. So what do you do if you're a tenant or know someone who is being discriminated against for their immigration status, or is being illegally locked out or evicted? So for the programs that we'll be discussing, the folks that are eligible are all low-income residents of Illinois. Both tenants and landlords are eligible to apply. You do not need to have a case in court to receive these services, and immigration status does not matter. Next. And what legal assistance is available? There is housing and eviction information, document review and preparation, legal consultations and advice, referrals for mediation or rental assistance programs, and direct referrals to legal aid, including for in-court representation when the eviction moratorium ends. Next. One of the programs that exists in the state of Illinois is Eviction Help Illinois. So this is to help tenants who might be in a housing crisis and have 3 points of access. So you can either contact them by their telephone hotline, which is available in English and Spanish, through their online website and their chat box, or through texting them in the numbers in English and Spanish that you text either eviction or desalojo, and they'll prompt you to answer a couple questions. So after contacting the program, you will answer a few simple questions and that are needed to know your housing issue and your situation. And from there, a legal aid professional evaluates your eligibility and will contact you later on with potential next steps for assistance from the program Eviction Help Illinois. Next. So it's important to keep in mind that if Eviction Help Illinois determines that they can't help you or assist you, there are other eviction legal support services available. Some organizations that are providing assistance to undocumented folks or people outside of Chicago include Catholic Charities, North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic, the Public Interest Law Initiative, University YMCA, and the Westside Justice Center. Next. So now we'll be going over a few of the rental assistance programs that are available in the state of Illinois. Next. So the three that have been going on these past couple weeks that have been open for folks to apply for have been the state of Illinois Rental Payment Program through IDA, the Illinois Housing Help Program through IDHS, and the City of Chicago Emergency Rental Assistance Program that has now closed for their assistance for applications. Next. So the Illinois Rental Payment Program is currently open for the entire state of Illinois, but it's very, very important to remember to note that the tenant portal access closes on July 18th at 11:59 p.m., which is in about 2 days. Tenants can apply at the website listed on the screen, and the type of assistance available is rent only. Tenants can only receive up to $25,000. And it is for 12 months of past rent or 3 months of future rent. Next. And also there is also the Illinois Housing Help Program available through IDHS. This program is a little bit different in that in order to apply, you don't apply through a website or through a telephone number. You have to apply through one of the IDHS partners and receive a referral through them. Now, they're still accepting referrals. They're accepting referrals until funds run out. So we definitely suggest that folks apply as soon as possible to increase their chances of being able to obtain funding. Similar to the IDA program, the type of assistance available is for rental assistance, but this program also provides assistance for utilities such as water, light, gas, your internet, and there's no maximum amount of assistance. So you can still receive assistance for 12 months of past rent and 3 months of future rent. Next. A few of the documents that folks might need in order to apply to these programs are a government issued ID, a copy of the lease or rental agreement. If this doesn't exist, you can always try to ask your landlord to write an affidavit or a letter of support stating, that they do live here, they've been living here, this is how much they've been paying in lieu of a lease or rental agreement. You'll need a proof of your utility bill or your proof of address, how much you pay in rent and how much is due, utility bills and how much is due in utilities, proof of your taxes of the past few years, so your tax returns or your pay stubs, and proof of public assistance if you're receiving it, and a valid email address. Next slide. So this just shows an overview of the programs that we just went over. Feel free to screenshot if it's available, but we'll also be posting the information in the comments for everyone to access. Next. And in order to be eligible for these programs, the programs will be looking at 50% and 80% of the area median income of where you live, and your household size and your household income will be what determines your eligibility and how much assistance you can receive. Next. So we have a resource pamphlet that the TRP team created, next slide, that is available on our Illinois Access to Justice website. We will be posting the links to the English and Spanish pamphlets that we have created. And also keep in mind that we will be updating these pamphlets and distributing them once again to the community with updated dates and information that folks might need. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Michelle for some important reminders.
Thank you, Anali. Some important reminders that everyone should take away from today's event is that your immigration status does not matter. Expired IDs are accepted. You can apply to these programs mentioned, but you can only get approved for one. And depending where you live, the area median income is different. If you don't have a lease, your landlord can sign an affidavit. And last important note is that you should not pay anyone to complete a rental assistance application. And then with that, Anali, are there any questions that have come up?
Yeah, so some questions that we've received in the past are, do tenants need a social security number or an individual tax ID number, such as an ITIN, in order to apply?
So the answer is no. Social security number or an ITIN is not required for tenants.
Okay, great. And then what would happen if someone doesn't have a formal proof of income?
The applications will provide an option for a written attestation form where individuals in this situation can sign and complete. And then this will serve as a proof of income.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And what can individuals without a formal lease agreement do? Like, can they still apply for rental assistance programs?
If you don't have a lease, the landlord can write an affidavit that you live on their property. If your landlord doesn't want to write an affidavit for you, you can still apply to the programs available. Don't let landlord participation stop you. There will be opportunities to apply if your landlord does not cooperate.
Okay, thank you. And is there any assistance for mortgages?
Um, for mortgages, no, these programs are only available to renters.
Okay, thank you. And then how will the funds be distributed to applicants that are approved for these programs?
Their check will be issued directly to the housing provider.
Okay, well, thank you. I think those are a few of the questions that we received on our end. That's definitely helpful to answer those questions, and we really appreciate you taking the time to answer them.
Of course. And with that, that is it and concludes our Know Your Rights segment and our event. Thank you to TRP for helping us host today, and thank you again to Commissioner Anaya for sharing this space with us. If you have any questions, please add them to the chat on our Facebook page or contact us at info@flatbluenorth.org, or you can contact us again and at our Facebook page. Thank you so much, everyone.